Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to do the example on the back. The example, the previous one I went through the lesson for today. Now we're going to do the example on the back. So what we have here is is it more expensive to live in California or Florida? Monthly cost of living expenses in California are approximately normal, with a mean of 10,800 and a standard deviation of 3,200. Monthly cost of living in Florida are also approximately normal, with a mean of 8,500 and a standard deviation of 2,700. Suppose we select an independent simple random sample of 16 California residents. So California's N is going to be 16, and 9 residents from Florida. So N is going to be 9 for Florida. Calculate the sample mean monthly cost. So in this case, what we're going to do is what we want to do is the same idea. We want to check the shape of the sampling distribution of the difference. Well, I got to look at each one's individual. So is California's sampling distribution approximately normal? Well, it says that the population is approximately normal, so that means the sampling distribution is approximately normal. The sampling distribution is approximately normal because the population is approximately normal. And we can say the exact same thing for Florida. Florida says that they are also approximately normal. So for both California and Florida, we meet that check. Since the sampling distribution of California, any sampling distribution from California would be approximately normal. Any sampling distribution from Florida would be approximately normal. The difference, this X bar C minus X bar F, the difference is also going to be approximately normal. If one of them wasn't, then you couldn't say that the difference was. Find the mean and standard deviation. Okay, so the way we want to figure out the mean and standard deviation is as follows. We got to make sure that they're done randomly. Well, they said they're done with simple random samples, SRS. So what that tells me is the mean of X bar California minus X bar Florida is going to equal the mean of X bar California minus the mean of X bar Florida. But since it's random, this is equal to the mean of California minus the mean of Florida, which means I can go ahead and I can do 10,800 minus 8,500. And I can end up with 2,300 is my mean. Standard deviation of the difference, I'd have to check the 10n thing. So I'd have to do 10 times 16, 160, 10 times 9, 90. It's well more than safe to assume there are more than 160 residents in California and 90 residents in Florida. So that means I can use this big formula from your formula sheet. California standard deviation squared divided by the sample size plus Florida standard deviation squared divided by the sample size. So when I plug in those numbers, it's 3,200 squared over 16 plus 2,700 squared over 9. So when I go to calculate this, I'm going to get $1,204.16. So what that tells me is that this distribution, the difference, is normally distributed. It's centered at $2,300. It has a standard deviation of $1,204.16. So again, if I drew the picture, this is what the sampling distribution is going to look like. It's going to be centered at 2,300. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do it on the dollars. I'm not going to worry about the cents because the cents are small enough. This is 3,504. This is 4,708. This is 5,912. This is 1,095. This is negative 108. And this is negative 1,312. So that's what the distribution of this thing looks like. So now the question says, calculate the probability that the average monthly cost of living expenses of the 16 randomly selected California residents is less than the average monthly cost of the cost of living for the 9 Florida residents. So what that's asking me is, it's asking me this: what is the probability that if I took 16 Californians averaged them, took 9 Floridians, averaged them, subtracted them, that they'd be less than 0. Basically what it's asking me is it's asking me for a probability right out here. So my probability is going to be out here. This is what 0 is. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do normal CDF. My lower bound is going to be negative lots of 9s. My upper bound is 0. My mean is 2300. My standard deviation is 1204.16. Go to my calculator. Second bars. And do normal CDF. Negative bunch of 9s. 0. 12. So it's clear. It's 2300. And it's 1204.16. 16. Hit enter. And I'm going to get 0.0281. So this is going to equal to 0.0281. So a little bit less than 3%. So going back to what I always ask, I'd be surprised. I would be surprised if I took a random sample of 16 Californians and 9 Floridians, figured out their living expenses, and that it was more expensive to live in Florida than it was in California. So this is kind of like the process. You're going to have to go through and check your random for their center, your independent for your spread, the normal idea, the two things, the population or the sample size for your shape. And then you'll get a curve and you'll be able to answer any questions that come from that. Hopefully that helps.